right. I'm ready as soon as y'all are.
Count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You want to check your mic, Miss Sweet, make sure it works okay.
1, 2, 1, 2. Good evening. I'm Sheila Smoot, and welcome to today's forum and District 9 candidates. And before we get started, because we're in the house of the Lord and we're a guest in the house of the Lord, we are going to ask Deacon Vincent Long of Bethel Baptist Pratt City to lead us in prayer and a message. Deacon Long.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome the audience to the Committee to Save Jefferson County District 9 candidates runoff. We're going to hear from 2 candidates today. They will share their vision of a brighter District 9 community. Our attendance today is the community effort. The church does not endorse any candidate. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come this afternoon, Lord, rejoicing in the day that you have given us. Father, we ask today that you would bring your spirit, Lord, and rest upon us. Father, we need you. We need your guidance, Lord. We need your leadership. We need your wisdom, Father. Now we ask that you would touch each candidate, give them the words to say that will aid those in our community to have a better effort. Lord, we ask now that you would bless this church, bless our community in Birmingham at large. This is our prayer. We ask it in your darling Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen. I will now turn the program over to tonight's moderator, Sister Sheila Smith.
Thank you, Deacon Long, and thank you to the Bethel Pratt City family for allowing this community forum. I have been instructed to be your moderator of record. This is my 11th moderation, so don't shoot the messenger. I'm not paid. I am just here as a moderator, and that's based on my media experience. Y'all remember me from 6 on the Side and Fox News, Bureau Chief for NBC 13, and I also host several shows in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa at this time. And so I am just your moderator of record, and that's also because I'm also a fact checker because I covered city government for years. I covered state government. I have covered city council, state government, education, and also served as a former elected official. So my role is because of asking, and I want to thank the committee to save Jefferson County. I also want to take the Birmingham City retirees and certainly the FOP, Mr. Dexter, will also give us remarks. I want to thank them for allowing me to be in the presence. And I also want to thank Bethel Pratt City for allowing me to be a guest in their house today and offering this facility and this sanctuary as a community space. I know many of us have often told the churches that they shouldn't just open on Sunday, they should offer the space to the community. And several churches that have allowed us to come in have done that. And we want to thank those pastors, their congregations, for allowing us to use a space in their facility and in their church sanctuary. At this time, I'd like to call William Muhammad to give us a brief overview of the inception of the Committee to Save Jefferson County, and he will also speak to some other issues. And at this time, William Muhammad will give us our other directives.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out and being a part of this great process that the Lord has put us on. I just want to say a few things about the Committee to Save Jefferson County, because there are some young people who are running for office who are being handled, and they don't know nothing and they ain't never done nothing. And so they got to be educated. And I don't hate none of them. I don't hate none of you if you happen to be looking at this. I like you. and I will be your friend after this. But I just want to straighten some things out. We started off as the Committee to Save Birmingham in 1999. That was with the election of Mayor Bernard Kincaid, because we had some concerns about regionalism being pushed into Birmingham and that it would affect us. And I just happened to be on the radio the other day with my good friend Dexter Cunningham, and we were talking on the Chris Coleman show. And when we brought up the fact that we started because we feared regionalism, and Chris Coleman said that, hey, I'm for regionalism because regionalism works in other places. It works in other cities. I said, I hear what you're saying, Chris, but you got to keep in mind that these people who are talking about regionalism are the same people who moved away from us because they didn't want to live with us. They are the ones responsible for leaving our cities desperate and bad. They took their businesses, they took their homes, they took their tax dollars, and they moved out in the woods. And then they wanted to come and offer a hand to help govern after they moved away from us. If you wanted to help govern, you would stay in the neighborhoods with us. And you would continue to keep your businesses in the community. So that was our concern then. That was 26 years ago. And then in 2010, a man by the name of George Bowman, who was appointed by the governor at one time, but he happened to get re-elected to the county commission. And I had two great friends who worked for him. One was Dr. Horace Huntley, and the other one was Brother Richard Finley. And they were members of the Committee to Save Birmingham. And they let us know that the commission that was down there at that time had plans on closing Cooper Green Hospital and getting rid of the county nursing home. Those were the plans. So we organized around that and we fought that, and we became the Committee to Save Jefferson County. That was 15 years ago. I've been working in this, how do they say it, in this field. I've been working on this path and in this field for 43 years. Now, any of those people who are on Facebook, and I don't care, because if the Hammonds were telling you right, they'll tell you, you better leave William Muhammad alone. But they misguide you if they encouraging you to tell people that the Committee to Save Jefferson County only has one member. So I guess I'm supposed to be crazy, but show me somebody who's crazy, that's been crazy for 43 years. If that's the situation, then you ought to give me some credit that I can be crazy that long. Most of you have never done anything and don't know anything. So that's why I'm here to say this was for the benefit of the people. It was not my doing. It was done by our co-chair, Marcia Forrest. She came to me. I told this story before. She came to me and said, we ought to do some forums and have candidates to come here and talk to the citizenry. That's her favorite word. And I said no. Because I said politicians would lie. And I didn't use the word politicians, I used that other word. But since I'm in the house of the Lord, I'm going to say politicians will lie. But then she didn't argue with me. She just waited a little while and came back again. And I said, okay, we ought to do it. But she was divinely guided. Because she did this and we connected with the great Mr. Jarvis Escott. What's happening in Birmingham? And we were getting tremendous amount of people who decided they will not come out to these places. But yet they will look at it on YouTube and on Facebook. And we were getting thousands of views. And it all happened that when we were supposed to do the mayoral's forum, and it was supposed to be at the city club, and we had one of our associates that had been a member of the city club for years. And the Monday before the Thursday that we supposed to have done it, we got a call from the city club saying that, oh, that was a mix-up, we can't do it. And we started thinking, wait a minute, There have been no mayoral forums. What's going on? Channel 6 usually do one, the League of Women Voters usually do something going on here. So we decided to go out to the FOP. And we had it there. The people came out, the media came out, and we ended up that night having 33,000 views. So that means that the people are interested and want to hear what candidates got to say. So give me my time, let me know when I'm getting over time. But I just want to say, we started committed to save Jefferson County because we feel the collusion of regionalism. But now we face something, as I told Chris Copeland, that's worse than that, and that's puppetry. And nothing worse than having a black face over the interests of the white community. That's more dangerous than regionalism in any way. So that's what we're facing. And a big part of that is that we don't vote. So last week when we had the District 4 meeting, I announced that we had just got word that the judge decided in our favor. I was complaining on this, that the county had been gerrymandered, and the judge announced that they had to redraw the map. And I told the people who were there that night that I've always said that we get these maps drawn fairly in the county, I could go home. So I announced my retirement at that meeting. So before I get through talking, I said, we got to get this voter registration up 10%. So they said, I thought you said you was legal. And I said, y'all don't have it. I got to die out of this. But the Lord, I won't talk about it tonight because I don't want to take up much time, but the Lord has showed me how. Come on. The Lord has showed me the way. I was telling a friend about it. I call it the Pleasant Road Plan. I ain't going into details on it, but the Lord has showed me what we're going to do to raise the vote percentage 10%. It's going to be 30% next time. And I didn't know that, Lord, I was mad about something I didn't know. And then I went to church with my good friend, Brother Carl Muhammad, and his wife, Sister Mother Betty. And Sister Mother Betty taught on the subject, and it all came clear to me. The subject was, some things got to happen so other things can happen. When she said that, it all became clear to me. It wasn't for Pleasant Road, it was for Birmingham. Amen. So, I ain't gonna go into no details on it, but that's what we're gonna work on, and we wanna take this voter percentage up by 10 because it's a part of what we're facing. You have candidates, oh, I forgot what I came up here for. Well, let me get to this. You don't put me in front of a roster and give me a mic and don't have somebody else holding me. Okay, yeah. Give me 2 minutes. So, but let me say this and then I'll sit down. So, the latest is, I got a phone call from a good friend. I was asleep. But I wake up in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock at night, and I looked at my phone and said, oh no, so-and-so called me. Wonder what he want. I listened to the message and he said that Miss Tate and Miss Ford want you to take their pictures off, take them down off of the website. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I got up that morning and I called my attorney, the great Richard Rice, and I couldn't reach him. Then I called my hero, the great Earl Hilliard. I couldn't reach him. I said, Lord, what am I going to do? What they might do, they said they want their pictures down. And then out of the blue, I got a phone call from Godfather himself, John Ross. And I said, John, I'm so glad you called me, John. I said, these people want me to take their picture. John said, don't worry about that. Once they run for office, they become public officials. So then after I talked to John, I went and got my lawyer. My lawyer name, his first name AI, and his last name Google. And this is what he had to say. He said, when a person runs for public office, they become a public figure. The law recognizes that a robust public debate is essential for a democratic society and allows for the use of public figures' names and likenesses for complimentary criticism and news reporting without their permission. So that's what my attorney AI Google, they would say. So I just want to let those people know who are listening, don't be threatening me now, but the law said you the one decided to run. So when you decide to run, you are a public figure. We're not charging nobody nothing off your name. We're not saying nothing that's illegal or lying about you. So the thing is, why is it that you don't want to come and meet the people? Because that's part of the plan of the rubber stamps. As long as the people know that you don't know nothing and you ain't never did nothing, they will vote for you based on somebody putting your name down under their picture. That's a travesty. My attorney said that the law recognizes that robust political debate is essential for democracy. So why is it that these people don't want to debate? And like I say, I'm not against you. I love you. I appreciate you. I hold you up for the things you've done, but I'm just on the side of right with this. So all we're trying to do is get the people interested. And I'll leave you on this last note. I want to say that on the 11th of this month, the Committee to Save Jefferson County will be meeting at our regular spot. That's the Henwood Rec. And we will have the attorneys from our side on the lawsuit. Hopefully, Richard Rice, Richard Roku, Blackshear, I've got the Blackshear first name in, and UW Clemens. Hopefully, we're trying to get them to come out to talk to the people about what's the next step in this thing about the gerrymandering, because we're going to redraw the maps, and that according to the testimony in court, if you redraw the maps, it's going to be a good chance of the majority Democrats. So we need to come and talk about that, because I'll be frank with you, I got some issues. Maybe I shouldn't even say it, I talk too much. But I got some issues with it being all black. I'm the blackest person I know. And I got an issue with being all black, because we can't get along. I'm just gonna tell you the damn truth. I got an issue with it. So we got some work we gotta do. But 3 Democrats ought to be in our favor, and should be in our favor. So, I close on this note. Like I said, 20% turnout is not voter apathy, it's hopelessness. And that's what we're fighting against. So, no one should be upset with us if we're trying to give the people hope by letting them participate. Only those who are trying to be a part of a conspiracy to keep our position in the dumbed down position they in, only they would want to keep these figures going down. People vote less and less. Why? Because they lost hope. We want to give them hope back. So thank you for coming out and being a part of this. Thank you for everything you've done. I want to thank Ms. Marcia, and thank Sister Sheila, and thank everybody who's worked with us, the great Jarvis, and thank the pastor Dexter and my brother D'Angelo, and we're working with the school system. I want to thank my wife personally, because I'm dragging her to all these things. And she is never complaining about it. So thank you all for coming out. Good. Thank you.
Can we give the President William Muhammad a committee celebration? Let's give him a hand. And thank you very much for that historical perspective on the group. I do remember in 1999, I was actually a reporter covering City Hall. And I think you want to say hello too. Hello, Jimmy Ann. And so the historical perspective for those people who did get that, this is not a political, educational forum debate for Birmingham members who are running for office. It is the Committee to Save Jefferson County, and there have been several forums. There was one in Brighton, Alabama. There was one in Centerpoint. There have been several. and of course Birmingham, because you're so large, they had more, so large. And I was told today by GBM member, Kip Chapman, who just told us there were 62 people running for offices in just the Birmingham race. So Jefferson County is comprised of 36 cities. 35 of them had races in elected school board, elected city council, and elected mayor races. Bessemer was not part of that due to their makeup, and that was constitutional. But the entire state of Alabama, I think except for 4 cities, had elections based on legislative law. I believe the representative was there when that all occurred, that everybody in municipal government had to run at the same time. Therefore, some of your elected officials had not a 4-year term, they had a 5-year term. And that's so everybody could be on the same kilter. And again, that was from the legislative approval. State Representative Waterland Gavan is in the House. Hello, State Representative Gavan. And so it had nothing to do with any city, any political organization, or any agenda. As you know, the state of Alabama is a red state. So thank you for clearing that up based on what people were thinking. Again, this is the committee to save Jefferson County, which has 36 cities in it, and this is just one of races in Birmingham that we're going to. There are runoffs in other cities on October 7th. At this time, I just want to acknowledge Richard Franklin, President of Birmingham AFT, local number 2115. Is Richard here? Hi, Richard, how are you? I would like to acknowledge Birmingham retiree representative Dexter Cunningham, who will probably give us a couple of remarks. He is also a part of this organization that's hosting today.
Thank you, Ms. Booth. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Now, I'll be very brief. I cannot speak as nearly as eloquently as Brother Muhammad, so I promise to be brief, but I do want to inform those people who are here in the physical, as those who are watching virtually, that we are here to be about service. Elected leaders are servants. We cast a vote to put them in place to serve us, the citizens, the businesses that reside within Birmingham. Mr. Muhammad, he didn't tell it this time, but he has a story. When myself and the president of the FOP first started coming to the committee to save Jefferson County and trying to be involved, because we love our city. We love the city that we serve. I've served the city of Birmingham for over 27 years. God has blessed me to be retired for a good while now. But Mr. Muhammad posed a question that if you had told him 10 years ago that he would be working with the FOP to try and hire police to help save the city of Birmingham, he would say, yeah, he crazy. Go ahead and check him in the Bryce or Parklow, whatever mental health authority is there. But we fast forward to this time, and we are kindred souls because we're about service, not to ourselves, but to the greater good. We want those people who are not privy or don't understand. We want you going. We want you tuning in, and most importantly, after this runoff election, we want you to be around to hold these people accountable. Amen. That is the one thing that I think has been absent well over 30 years, is consistent accountability of our elected officials. If we elect them to lead and to serve us, every now and then they need reminding, and it can't be 6 months before the election. They need reminding of accountability. If they get sworn in on Monday, the next Monday, somebody needs to be there to hold them accountable for the promises that they made and the ones that they may not keep. We believe in accountability. We believe in service. Most importantly, after this election, we've got to believe in unity. Now, you know, the Word of God says even teeth and tongue fall out. If you don't pull out all your teeth and you cut your tongue off, if community teach you bite the tongue. We can always agree to be peacefully disagreeable, but accountability is first and foremost. Thank you so much for supporting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dexter Cunningham, Birmingham retirees. Okay, at this time, when we do a pause, we'll have another set of greetings, but right now we're going to start with our forum. And again, we are live, and we're at Bethel Baptist Church, Pratt City. And also, we are being streamed by Jarvis and Scott of First Impressions Media. At this time, we are going to start with School Board Candidate District 9, and then we'll start with City Council Candidate District 9. First, we're going to have greetings from School Board Candidate District 9. Eric Hall, are you present? Eric Hall is present. Yamika Floyd, are you present? No? Yamika Floyd was invited and declined to attend. At this time, City Council Candidate District 9, John Hilliard, are you present?
Yes, present.
Mr. Hilliard is present. LaTanya Tate, are you present, incumbent? No. LaTanya Tate, not present today. She was invited and declined to attend. And with that said, we will take questions and answers, and that we'll get to the audience. You will have an opportunity. Let me give you the rules of engagement. Make sure you just listen. You can clap a couple times if it's a natural reaction. That's fine with us. We will not allow interruptions. We are in the house of the Lord in a community space that is being offered to us at no charge. Also, candidates of record, you already know we're going to give you 1 minute to talk about and introduce yourselves, and then we'll give you up to 2 minutes to answer any and all questions. At the end, we'll give you an opportunity to take 2 minutes to tell us why on October 7th in this runoff election that you should be the person of record to serve in the position of record. But again, and then we will take audience questions. I see a lot of community members in here, and we will also tell you at the end of this how many people were at home and looking at this from home. So Mr. Escott will give us that official number. Comprende? Everybody understand? Okay. At this time, we would like for Mr. Hall, candidate for School Board District 9, to have his opening statement. Mr. Hall?
Let me say good evening to everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to be before you today. It's always, I call it you have to have a respect for the electorate, those who put you in positions in office. You have to be accountable and transparent to the people that you are running to serve. And so I do want to take this time to thank the committee for hosting this forum. And allowing us to have this conversation and allowing the opportunity to share with the public why I am running for school board representative. I also want to acknowledge the neighborhood presidents that's in this space. Thank you so much for showing up. Also to the union leaders that are present. I do see representatives from American Federation of Government Employees. Ms. Lyons is here, also the Federation of the Police Union. And the teachers union. Thank you so much for the work that you do. I am running for school board to build on the success of Birmingham City Schools. We have come a long way, and our school system have a long way to go. And I believe that by working together and fostering a true relationship between community partners, we can continue to build on that success for Birmingham City Schools. My priority areas is on academic achievement, student well-being, and staff support. And I look forward to sharing my platform with you during this conversation today.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Thank you, Mr. Hall. At this time, you'll hear from John Hilliard, runoff candidate for District 9. Mr. Hilliard, you have a minute to tell us about your platform.
Good evening. It is indeed an honor to be here with the Committee to Save Jefferson County. I want to thank Bethel Baptist Church and its church family for hosting this event and all the community people that are here today. My name is John Hilliard. I've been living in Birmingham all of my life. I thought back when I first got started in actually participating in campaigns, and I'm going to date it because I was around 8 or 9 years old, and it was in 1973 that I participated going door to door, putting out flyers, and I was just bit by the bug and enjoyed participating. And I participated ever since then. I've worked in community organizations. I started off as a voting poll chief in the community, did that for over 20 years, and moved on to the state legislature where I served you for 10 years, and now back to the Birmingham City Council. And I'm so excited to be here among such brilliant and smart people. We have so much to do and so much to accomplish. I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about being here with you and answering any questions that you may have. I'm John Hilliard, your candidate for the Birmingham City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Well, we were going to start with Mr. Home. Here's your first question. Today's school districts are plagued with students with cell phones. Parents need to contact their children for emergencies and other issues. However, the teachers have a hurdle to keeping the phones off to teach students. Tell us your plan of how to serve both parents and teachers and what they can do to implement a strategy or a process that will allow or disallow, or what your feelings are on that, pleasing district standards and parents. Give us a step-by-step plan that will work, and please address the audience. Mr. Holmes.
Thank you so much for that question. One of the things that happened this year, the state legislature passed what we call the Focus Act. The Focus Act prohibits the use of electronic devices in all of its forms in the classroom. And I'm just going to be honest with you, I'm old school. I grew up in an era where we couldn't have cell phones in the classrooms. And I also believe that we don't need devices to interrupt the learning process in our classrooms. And so with that being said, I do agree with the intent behind the Focus Act, in which has already been signed into law and is currently being implemented in our school systems. I do believe that we can continue to allow the process of parents to contact the school, the administrators, the office, if there's an emergency situation, and they have to notify the kids or the child of an emergency. In the same tune, when there's an emergency that takes place in the school, we have a system where the school administrators can contact all parents, guardians, and emergency kin to notify those individuals of emergencies at the schools. And so
10 seconds.
I believe that we should keep those devices out of the classroom and keep the integrity in the classroom to protect the learning process, so that our teachers can do what they are paid to do.
Thank you. And we're going to stick with the school board. I've been told by Ms. Garcia to stick with the school board, and then when we're finished with the question here, we will only focus on that, so you all can stay focused on that as well. Okay. Evidence suggests that it's possible to recruit the best teachers to the neediest schools, but only if we pay them a sizable salary stipend, such as an extra $10,000 or $15,000 a year. How would you push for increase for teacher salaries? Better teachers can produce better students. Would you support such a policy? And if not, what would you support?
Thank you again for the question. Definitely, we have to do what is necessary to ensure that we have teachers who are well qualified and capable to teach. I have had conversations with several teachers, several young teachers, and the conversation is being that Birmingham City Schools do not pay their teachers enough, or they feel unappreciated. So we have to do something to recruit better teachers and to also retain the teachers that we have. I do believe that we do need to incentivize those teachers that are coming into the school system. One, Birmingham City Schools is a Title I system, and what that means is they have to deal with students who have low economic backgrounds. And sometimes these students have a lot of issues going on in their life. And the teachers who have been equipped to teach may not necessarily have the full ability to handle a lot of the situations that they have to address. The teachers have to show up to be the counselor, to be the social worker, and to do a lot of things. And so I believe that we should incentivize those teachers. We should make sure that we have professional development in place to strengthen the structure. And with that incentivizing, it can be broken down to where we are paying over time to ensure that they have tenure at the end of the process.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Your next question. What is wrong with the Birmingham system in your opinion? And what is your strategy to just do the basic things to fix it? It's been around for a long time, so we're not trying to put all that on you at once. However, in your opinion, because you're running for a reason, why are you running for that reason? And what is wrong with the system? And why do you think you can fix it?
One of the main issues that we have in Birmingham City Schools is a lack of transparency and then also lack of community involvement. We need to foster a relationship between community and the school systems again. I grew up in a time where Otis Dispute ran a program which had community at the forefront in our school systems. And those are some of the same programs that we need to invest in and bring back. We know that there's an issue in the homes, and we need to ensure that we are providing adequate resources to the families, in addition to what we provide to the children. And so one of the key things that Otis District did was, as a chair of the program in which he was coordinating at that point in time, was allow parents an opportunity to come to utilize the library resources. If a parent needed an employment opportunity, they was able to go to the school to do a resume, to do job building skills, to file for additional resources if there needs to be, like for example, with food stamps or whatever other resources the family need in order to maintain a whole family structure. And so those are some of the things that we need to get back to, ensuring that we have a school system and a community that all works together. I believe that when you have strong schools, you have strong communities. And if we were able to marry the two again, I believe that we will see significant strength in our communities as well as improvement as it relates to our communities in which we live and play.
Thank you. Mr. Hall, how will you deal with student issues such as mental health, the violence problem, conflict resolution, poverty, things that children are coming into school systems now that probably were there back 50 years ago or 10 years ago, but probably did not get the funding to be addressed. But now we're facing the loss of population in Birmingham City schools to other school systems. But for the students who are there, what is your strategy for dealing with the issues, mental health, violence, poverty, and any other issues that these students may have?
One of the things that that's not being discussed, as I think that it should be discussed, is we are losing student population, but not just student population, we're losing federal resources to the tune of $15 billion. The Birmingham City School System lost a $15 million grant that addresses mental health and conflict resolution in Birmingham City Schools. That is very important. What we have to do as community members is we have to find a way to bridge the gap. We have to identify what resources are available, but also depend on our private partners, our faith partners, our community partners to fill in that gap so that our kids can get the mental health services that they need. Another issue that I see is that we do not have enough counselors, social workers, and mental health professionals in our school system, and that's key. We have to make sure that we have staff in our school system able to identify the problems that our kids are dealing with, because the reality is a lot of times our kids have to walk past dilapidated structures. They have to walk past overgrown lots to get to school. Just the other day there was an incident where a young student was nearly abducted from the Birmingham City school system, out of a school that's in District 9. Okay, and so these are some of the things that we have to be able to deal with and address. And also we have to deal with our students with conflict resolution, so that when they get older, they won't have to be in the penal system or go to jails or prisons or anything like that. So it takes
15 seconds.
community investment, strong community partnership, ensuring that we have the mental health professionals that's needed, and hiring the staff to do the work that's needed to make sure that our kids are home and healthy. And that's a part of our school well-being, is addressing the community mental health aspect of what our kids are faced with.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Your next question. Do you believe that the Birmingham City school system needs a program that directly trains parents? And if so, tell us why, and if not, tell us why.
Yes, I do believe that we need a program that directly trains parents. The reality is a lot of our parents are much younger. And in some cases, they may lack parenting skills. And so we do need to make sure that we have the programs in place that will strengthen the household, and build on those parenting skills, build on nutrition so that our students are parents are able to cook adequate meals, to ensure that our kids are fed properly before they are even going to the school system so that they can learn what they need to learn. And so, yes, I do support parenting programs within our school system. And again, this all goes back to ensuring that we have whole, healthy families. And like I said, when you have strong kids, strong families, we have stronger communities.
Thank you. Our next question. With the people knowing that in third grade you might end up, and I say might, in prison, what does your platform have to do with pre-K education? How would you support that? Do you think that's a factor in creating kids and helping them get an early start in being productive citizens?
So we do have to invest and strongly invest in the early education of our children that are coming into our system, our school system. So the earlier you invest in teaching a child how to read, teaching a child how to count, teaching a child how to identify certain things, is very likely, the likelihood is that that child will grow up to be a more responsible individual and a responsible adult. And so I strongly support investment in pre-K opportunities, early childhood education, in addition to also after-school programs that support the learning process, academic process for our students, and the core school process. So yes, the more you invest in our kids' learning, the stronger our kids will be. We need to ensure that we have a robust curriculum. We need to ensure that we're not just passing students, but our students are able to compete in this global society. And so that comes with investment, intentionality, of course, and just being true to building our kids.
Thank you. And speaking of that, going from pre-K education up until the kids are now getting to the point where everybody does not want to go to college, and probably never did want to go to college. It's a little pricey. But what are your feelings about career education? Many of the school systems around have real career tech type educations. They just graduated in Jefferson County school systems. They give them one coat. They go straight into Children's Hospital for jobs, UAB for jobs. UAB is the largest employer in the state of Alabama in downtown Birmingham, which is 2 miles, a mile and a half from your board education facility. And Ramsey High School is right on top of it. So the question to you is, while these other school systems are doing this, what is your plan for career education? And also, can you throw in now, there's a new law that requires all students to have financial literacy. It is a law. It is an unfunded mandate, meaning there's no money attached to it. But students are being required to have financial literacy before they graduate, but there's no funds attached to it. So tackle the career education first, and then tackle the financial literacy and how you think that should be handled.
So, career education is very important. I work every day with young people between the ages of 16 and 24 who look for opportunities to advance their academic and career educational training goals. I came up in a school system where we had vocational training at Jackson Olin, whether it was in auto mechanics, whether it was in HVAC, carpentry, electrical. Students had an opportunity to get a career while in high school, and earning that career not only elevated that student's success, but it allowed them to be a part of a working class, and it built a middle class structure for a lot of students who didn't go to college or didn't want to go to college and wanted to have that career of vocational training. So I think that is something that we need to ensure that outside of the Birmingham Promise, for those kids who are not going to go to college, we need to make sure that they have a vocational trade that they can be a part of. Every school should have some form of vocational training, and it should be a partnership with our local unions and the workforce to ensure that we're producing a working class people. In addition to that, I believe that in dual enrollment. In addition to graduating with a high school diploma, our kids should graduate with some form of certification in something, whether it's HVAC, electrical, auto mechanics, nursing, whatever it is. Our students should be in a position to where they can go leave high school and be in a position to go to work
2 seconds.
if they choose to. And as it relates to the question in regards to financial literacy, our students do need that. That is a partnership that we can have with our local financial institutions to ensure going into the school system, especially between 11th and 12th grade, to teach our young people financial literacy, and also giving them a checking account and savings account and so forth.
All right, thank you. And your last question before we go to the audience, you'll have an opportunity to have questions, and we'll ask our Facebook audience. If you have a question, we will take a couple of questions from our Facebook as we continue to go on with our educational portion. Welcome in to the District 9 candidate runoff, and we are listening to Eric Hall. He is the candidate of record for the school board. And following that, after his last words, you will then transition to hear the candidate of District 9 candidate runoff, John Hilliard, for City Council. And this question is for you. What have you done in the community? What have you done in the community that you're most proud of? What is your claim to community fame? What's been your civic engagement in this community that gives you the right, and that the citizens give you the right, that you think they should run? What have you been doing out there these days?
So let me just say, for years I've been serving community, and I serve community because I believe in the community in which I live in. I have always been doing something, and I'm grateful to see I have my aunt here, Ms. Stiles, who have always been a part of everything that I do as it relates to the service work. But I've been a part of a lot of initiatives, from leading the rebuilding efforts after the tornadoes that ravaged the city of Birmingham. We were able to write a grant and help with the rebuilding of Pratt City, to the tune of making sure that we had hundreds of families' homes rebuilt. There was millions of dollars invested into this community, and that allowed me an opportunity to supervise and serve and be a part of the funding table to ensure that the resources that were given to Pratt City came to Pratt City. In addition to that, I'm committed to fighting for social justice, for labor rights, for the rights of all people, and fighting for humanity. So oftentimes people see me fighting as it relates to my stance with being a part of Black Lives Matter. But more recently, I was a plaintiff in the lawsuit against Jefferson County for the racial gerrymandering, and we were fighting to make sure that we have more representation on the county. And if we were able to get another minority face or Democrat on Jefferson County, that means that we can have more investment into our cities and our communities. And so that's just some of the things I've been doing.
Okay, we're gonna open it up for questions, and, I guess I'm, going to walk around and do that. Any questions from the audience? Yes, ma'am, got two. And be brief and, be succinct. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I heard Eric Carl mention about after-school programs and partnering with the schools, but how do you plan on partnering with schools and churches to kind of bridge that gap as far as providing after-school program resources and resources for parents?
Thank you so much for the question. One of the good things about, there are resources and programs that allow us to have after-school programs. For example, the church in which we sit in, Bethel Baptist Church, at one point in time, we used to have a grant where it was called the 21st Century Grant. And that grant allowed for after-school care. It allowed for parents who were able to be working to ensure that their students or our young scholars have a safe place to come. They have an opportunity to do their homework. They have qualified teachers who teach that program to ensure that our scholars are, continuing their learning process and doing their homework effectively. Then it also provides a healthy meal for those students too. And then of course there's some time for the students to fellowship and play and have other resources. But those are the type of programs that our churches can be doing, where they can actually travel, pick the students up from the schools, bring those students to the church, and allow them to go through those significant programs that will continue to enhance their learning skills and so forth. So, yes, those are the kind of programs that I look to fund or support as a representative.
I'm on the school board, just you know. Okay, question.
Yes, there's something that has always bothered me about urban school system. We have some schools that are never on these failing lists. And then we have others who stay on that list. I wondered if you had any ideas about how to bridge that gap and to take into consideration the wording of failing schools. If I was a student, it would make me feel, somewhat inferior. I would be an all-A student. But for you or society to just say, don't know what my grades are, but that I'm in a failing school, I just kind of have a problem with that. And I think that as a board, you all should come up with another phrase, because I don't think that helps children.
Thank you. So how would you do that? The word failing is, this constituent does not like, because you have people in the school system. So how would you handle that
Words.
situation?
Yeah. So words do matter, and I do think that we should, I believe in affirmations. I believe in uplifting our young scholars. I will always refer to our young people as scholars because that's what they are. Now, although we have some schools who may be underperforming, I believe that we need to create a culture of care. And we have two schools that are in the District 9, with the District 9 school board that we need to give a little bit more special love to. And that's Jackson Hole, and I know for one, we cannot continue a process of running our schools like prisons. What we have to do is really invest and see what's really going on with our students. And that also means addressing issues such as mental health and conflict resolution. And also ensuring that our young scholars have the resources that they need. A lot of the issues that I see may come from a sort of truancy. It may be because of lack of meals in the household. It may be because issues dealing with utility and power, or the kids may not have clean clothing, or they may be an issue with bullying. We need to identify what the real problem is, and we need to so that our scholars can continue to work with academic success. And so that would be one of my key things, is to invest strongly in those schools who may need a little bit more love to get them to where they need to be.
Good evening. You spoke earlier about Otis dispute and a program of community schools. I would like to get your idea to expound. We used to have a program in Birmingham City Schools. I know one of them was particularly at Jackson Oldham and Woodlawn, the Young Mothers Program. Would you be willing to bring those programs back and expound on, what we remember so the public can remember what the Young Mothers Program was, and also expound on what the community school component of what Mr. Otis dispute and many others ran back in the day?
2 minutes.
So the community school component was very instrumental in building a family structure. One of the things that Otis District wanted to ensure that families were strong, and that the families had everything that they needed in order to be sustainable and survive. And so whether it means that, employment opportunities for either parent who may have been either unemployed or underemployed, ensuring that, family folks had livable wages and so forth, it creates a environment where our students and the families can be successful and safe. And so that's what that community program was all about. And that's what we need to invest in and get back to. We need to strengthen the family structure. And once we are able to strengthen the family structure, I do strongly believe that our schools and our scholars, it will show in the work, and it will show in the community in which we live in. So yes.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Hall, for showing up, because the empty chair beside you speaks a loud message all by itself, so we appreciate you. It takes a village to run a child, and we're all here on behalf of that village. When it comes to school systems, one of the main concerns usually is funding for schools, for books, for those impoverished or challenged households that can't afford supplies, for food, for whatever the need may be. Are you concerned about funding for District 9, and what's your plan to help with that, to aid in the funding for our children?
So Birmingham City School have a strong funding structure, and we are grateful for that. However, I am concerned as it relates to the federal resources that we are losing. And we have to identify a way to kind of bridge that gap so that the impact of losing those federal funds will not spill over into the performance of our young scholars and into the householders. And so that means that it's really going to take going back to the old landmark where, our partnerships with faith-based communities, with public and private businesses and so forth, need to invest and give back to the Birmingham City school system. One thing that I remember when I was in school is that the local businesses used to adopt a school. And that was a very key program back in the day when we had our local community stakeholders giving resources back and investing into the school system. When you invest into the school system, that means you believe in those children, you believe in scholars and so forth. And so those are some of the programs that we need to get back to. And if we had those type of programs back, we can do more as it relates to the services that we provide for our schools. We can make sure that our kids have food to eat, right? We can make sure that our programs, our extracurricular programs are supported, because that means that we have business investing in our schools. And so those are some of the things that it takes leadership doing that, being on the ground, not just holding the title, but going out into the streets and making sure that we have, people that's, if you say you support, if you're doing business in this community, then it needs to reflect in our school system as well.
We have a question, and we'll take one moment. Mr. Taylor? Got a red light? Here we go. We have a question.
Thank you for being here this afternoon. This is a long story, but I'll make it brief for you. I am a product of Birmingham City Schools, Alabama School of Fine Arts, and then I graduated from Parker High. I was awarded a scholarship, finished at Jacksonville State. Never got into any legal trouble. Worked hard, retired from the telephone company. But because of one person's opinion of a statement, I was arrested in Walmart, of all places, because our kids shopped there, and put in jail. Now, the statement was, "This will rock your world." In the conversation, I was speaking to the young ladies about buying stock. So we're educating our kids. I'm the youth deacon here. Talk to them about dollar cost averaging and all of this stuff, where to put your money in Roths, IRAs, and things like that. But they misconstrued the meaning. Well, Walmart offered me $30,000. I sued for $770,000, okay? Now, the judge here, and we know this is a red state, he threw it out in summary judgment. Never even heard the case, okay? So I think in addition to the financial literacy that our children need to know about the legal systems and what is being done in the school systems to educate them and to avoid the traps that are set for them in the new prisons, $3 billion prisons, the school to prison pipeline that's being set up and established. What's being done to help them to evade those pitfalls?
Thank you so much for your question, and also thank you so much for your service in the mentorship program that you run. One thing I am able to, and I'm glad to see State Representative Cavan here, we oftentimes have this conversation about saving our young people and saving our youth. And one of the key things that she and I discuss often is, how do we save our young people when they come into contact with law enforcement? Or, in a better terms of, what do you do when the blue lights get behind you? Or what do you do when the police are engaging with you? And so we do need to have a training. I know a lot of parents have that talk, and I hear this oftentimes in my leadership capacity in the organization in which I serve in, is that I have this conversation with my child on what to do when they engage with police, right? And so if we are going to really be true to what we say about fostering relationships between law enforcement and as well as community and so forth, I think we need to have some very tough conversations and critical conversations, but also our students need to know their rights when they are engaged with police and or any other type of law enforcement officer. And so just like we are doing it as it relates to financial literacy in the schools, we need to also have these conversations. I wouldn't say in high school, but as early as elementary school, on how to have a respect for authority and how to survive after the encounter with dealing with the law enforcement and police.
Thank you so much. And for the record, Mr. Hall was just in Homewood leading a march. I saw you there. I saw you all over TV about the shooting of a young black male, and he was at the forefront of that. So I know it's a little tense out there when you're doing that. So you are very familiar with these situations directly, because I know you were with the family and you talked to Ben Crump and those kinds of things. So you have a direct pipeline to Ben Crump, I take it?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Just wanted to clarify. So thank you so much for those answers. And thank you all for all those questions. We're going to transition and wrap up. We have 1,000 people viewing. Thank you, Facebook, for that. We clap for all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being present. And we don't have a question at this time from your Facebook audience, so we're going to move on. Mr. Hall, tell us all, and I'll give you a 2-minute party shot. There is a race October 7th. It is a runoff race, and you are asking for the people's vote to represent this District 9 in a school board and in the board on the Board of Education. Tell us why we should make you the representative for District 9 on the Birmingham City School Board.
All right, so I'm going to stand for this. One, let me say this, it's very important, and I'm grateful for all of those who are viewing via Facebook and social media, but I'm also more grateful for the leaders that we have in this room today. Let me say this, we need to stop electing people who feel entitled to our vote, but not responsible for our progress. We have too many people who are loyal to other political figures and not loyal to the people. And so what I'm asking for on October 7th, when you go to the poll and vote, elect a leader who have been standing up for justice. Elect a leader who have been fighting for those families who have been impacted by whatever it is, systemic violence in all of its forms, whether it's economic violence or whether it's violence by whatever. Make sure that you are supporting a leader who has always been on the side of right. And so I ask for your vote and your support. I'm a veteran. I'm a union member. I'm a fighter. I'm a labor strategist. I have a lot of titles, but I oftentimes tell people titles are good, but purpose is better. And I'm running with purpose and with love to serve our students, to make sure that our students don't fall into the traps of those who don't value them, right? And I tell people this all the time. People oftentimes question my leadership as it relates to being a part of Black Lives Matter. Well, Black Lives Matter is three things. Black Lives Matter is an organization, just like the NAACP. But more importantly, Black Lives Matter is an affirmation to Black people. And I see so many Black beautiful faces in this room today, and I'm sure there are those who are online watching. But what Black Lives Matter is also a declaration to those who do not value Black lives. And I'm running to send a message to them to let them know those individuals that do not value our Black students, our Black and brown students, because Birmingham City Schools is a predominantly Black and brown system. To let them know that they have a strong advocate on their side. They have someone that's going to hold whomever is in a position of power accountable and to make sure that our school system is invested in properly. And so when you go to the polls on October the 7th, I want you to understand that I have a respect for the electorate. My opponent is not here today. So I want you to understand that it's out of love and respect because I am running for your vote. Yeah. But understand and know that when you elect me as your leader, you're electing someone that's loyal, that's going to serve you with duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. That's what leadership is. And those are the values that I'm going to lead with and represent you all with. So on October the 7th, I ask that you all go back to the polls. I'm grateful for the 1,600 plus that voted on August the 26th, but we need to go back out and vote again because this election is very important. We cannot keep electing folks who just feel entitled to one person, but elect a leader that's going to represent you. I ask for your vote on October 7th. Thank you so much to this committee for hosting this forum and allowing me to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give it up for Runoff, candidate for District 9, Birmingham City School Board. At this time, we're going to take a 2-minute break. If you got to run to the bathroom, do so. We're going to switch out our batteries here and do that. Up next is tonight's District 9 candidate runoff is John Hilliard. Between that, you will now hear from committee member of the Committee to Save Jefferson County and legislative representative of this area, Wanda Linda.
Thank you, Sheila. To Pastor, I saw him, Pastor McCready came in, and to the Bethel Nation and everybody here. Listen, I'm thankful unto the Lord to have this opportunity to speak as they transition out to the next segment. I commend those who have attended, showed up. And so I'm just rising because I am a part of the Committee to Save Jefferson County, and I'm proud to be a part of that one member that's always voluntold. But I also, as I take my seat and as I speak about those who show up, I ran for mayor and I didn't win. But I'm not going to stop showing up. That's good. I was elected by the people to serve House District 60. And I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up because it's about the service to the people who elect you to do a job. So I want to commend those who have shown up tonight. Eric has run for office before, and he didn't lose, but he never stopped showing up.
Yeah.
And when you have a true calling to serve the people, you do what you're supposed to do to represent the people. So I'm honored to have this opportunity to be here to see democracy. And as I close, I simply say this: our democracy is bigger than just Birmingham right now. We have a lot going on around this country where our voices are being frozen, silenced. We just celebrated the killing of 4 little girls, 62 years. But if you are sitting here now and thinking that we're so far away from 1963, you better think again. Next year will be the state races. Tommy Tuberville will 9 times out of 10 be governor. There is an attempt to take over, and there will be an attempt to take over the city of Birmingham. Commissioner Scales tried to tell you. I tried to tell you. But at the end of the day, she and I settled on one thing: if you like what you have, keep it. But I will say to you this seat here, District 9, will become a very critical seat. District 8 will be a very critical seat. So whatever you all need to do to step outside your comfort zones, Birmingham has no kings. And the people will suffer. So with that being said, I thank you all for allowing me to speak, but this is a very consequential election. And the question will be, if you like what you have at the end of the day, will you keep it? Tell a friend to go vote. Tell a friend to go vote on October the 2nd. Because if not, everything that you have is in this particular election. This is not sour grapes for me. This is truth and honesty. And because when I was elected to serve, and I'm going to continue to do that. With that being said, God bless you all, and God bless Mr. Muhammad. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for fighting for us, and thank you for always showing up, the committee to save Jefferson County. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will continue as we go to our next segment. Marcia is our timekeeper, and now we're going to our next segment. We are now speaking to District 9 candidate, runoff candidate, John Hilliard. Mr. Hilliard, I'm going to ask you one more time to go ahead and give us another 60 seconds of your platform so that we can start with that again, and then we're going to go into your first question.
Once again, good evening. I'm John Hilliard, a candidate for District 9 City Council. Of course, I believe in safer streets, safer communities, and a better place for us to live. My platform, I believe in housing, developing housing and economic development for our community is urgent to the vital part of our community. I believe in each and every one of you that we can make a difference in our community. I implore you to go out and recruit someone to go to the polls and vote. This election, like our representative just said, Ms. Gavan, is very critical. Going back to the polls on a runoff will possibly be won by 1 or 2 votes. I ask you to be a committee of 1, go out and recruit and bring someone to the polls.
Thank you. Again, tonight's sponsors are the Committee to Save Jefferson County, 36 City Strong, the Black Contractors Association, Inc., Birmingham City Retirees, with Dexter Cunningham being present, and our host facility tonight, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, Pratt City, Pastor Dr. Larry McCree Jr., PhD. Mr. Hill, how do you plan to prioritize the use of funds? City councils generally have discretionary funds. We have several neighborhood people here who have often complained that they're not getting their fair share. In fact, their fair share had been cut over the years. How do you plan to make sure that your neighborhood associations and your neighborhoods in general get their fair share, particularly in one district that would be District 9.
Wow, thank you so much for asking that question. That's a very critical question. Let's talk about discretionary funds. Let's talk about monies that have come in through the council. First of all, let me say, when I served in the Birmingham City Council and we got our discretionary money, I believe in working with our community. Our community, our neighborhood associations, our pastors in our community, they know better than anyone else what their community needs. I plan on caucusing and sitting down with the leaders of the community, the leaders of our churches, and getting involved in using our discretionary funds to really help. But unfortunately, I served during a time where I never had $3 million at my fingertips like my opponent had. She had $3 million at her fingertips. That's why she's not here. She doesn't want to be questioned about that money. But I can tell you, she took $500,000 of that money and invested in someone in Philadelphia, Indianapolis, and gave them that money to start crime in District 9. That person, we haven't heard from her since she gave them that money in 2023. Now, I'm going to tell you something. That needs to be investigated. It needs to be looked at. And we need to be asking questions. Where is our money? That's what I want to know. And what did he do with it? And why did she choose him over our neighborhood leaders and some of the pastors and community leaders? Our neighborhood officers have to fight for pennies.
15
just
seconds.
to do anything. So they should not have to fight for pennies when our current city councilwoman is just giving away money at her leisure and not at the communication of our neighborhood.
Thank you. Mr. Hilliard, how do you decide which community organizations receive funding? How does that work?
First part of the question.
How do you decide which community organizations, not neighborhood, just general nonprofits, that kind of thing? How do they request that money? Can you give us just a brief analysis of how it works?
Normally what happens is that different community organizations, neighborhoods, schools, people know you have money. They often submit proposals for that money. But now let me say this, the council seat, it's very little money that comes in through our areas. You got District 9 has 17 neighborhoods in it now. And what I often say to people, we have to use our seat and our titles to reach out. Now, when I served as your city councilman, I just remember once there was a grant that came up, a federal grant. That wasn't city money. That was a $50,000 grant to come in and do some cleanup work, do some cutting grass, planting trees and flowers in the area. Well, unfortunately, at that time, we only had one neighborhood, which was the East Thomas neighborhood, who applied for that, who had 501c. I would like to see all of our neighborhoods have 501c's. There are several other neighborhoods in the city of Birmingham that does have 501c organizations that we can help do matching funds and take the little money that we get as a councilor to put with those funds to help you raise matching funds to help better fund the community. That would be something we can look forward to.
With a strong mayor-council act, being the mayor being the leader of many of those things, how do you plan to still govern, if elected, in that space? And how do you plan to engage District 9?
Well, first of all, let me say this. We have a 9-member council. It takes 5 votes to get anything through. I often would tell the mayor when he would come to me and say, hey, John, I found $58 billion once. He said to me, and he put the paper on it, he said, this is what I plan to do with it. No disrespect. I said, Mayor, I said, I got a problem with that. He said, what? I said, you didn't ask me what District 9 needed. And I said, I would love to support some of your projects, but this is a give and take. What you have in John Hilliard is a councilman that will sit down and not fight against anyone, but will work with them to make compromise, to make sure that District 9 gets its fair share. That's all I ask. I want to support good ideas, but I want it to be a two-way situation. So even though we have a strong mayor-council act, the mayor is only as strong as the council. And the council has to be strong. That's why it's important that in John Hilliard, you won't have a rubber stamp candidate. You have a candidate who knows how to build relationships, who knows how to work to bring it home for District 9.
Thank you. How do you plan to keep crime down in District 9? That's a very just cut and dry, meat, potatoes, bread, butter question. How do you plan to keep crime down in just District 9?
You know, let me say this, history speaks for itself. We've been here before. When we had a whole lot of violence back when Dick Arrington was mayor of the city of Birmingham. How did he do it? He got with our clergy community, he got with the neighborhood leaders of the community, and he worked with the grassroots to bring it together. John Hill, you would do no different. I just want to be your leader on the council, but I want to represent you. In order to represent you, I have to work with you. Work with you. I won't treat you the way my opponent did, that's not here by the way. I will come to you, I will sit down with my pastoral community, I will sit down with my neighborhood leaders, I will sit down with my grassroots community leaders, and we together will come up with an agenda that will serve our community. That's the only way we're gonna bring crime down, is working with our community and letting them know that, hey, I'm not here by myself. When I speak, I will be using your voice to bring to the table.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Hilliard, you've been in office before. You served as a very young state representative. I think you older than me.
You were very young reporter.
I covered you, I watched you, I didn't know you were. You were down the State House. That's a very telling thing. So you were at the State House as a state representative. You have been on the city council before. And you were instrumental in some things. Talk to us about any legislation that you did in your former seat when you first got elected. Talk to us about anything you feel proud of that you did when you were on city council. So you have been in state and city government. Therefore, talk to us also about those relationships and how a legislative person impacts a city person and vice versa, and why is that important?
Wow, that's very interesting. You asked me to go down memory lane. You know, one of the most exciting things that I had when I served in the legislature was when we went out to recruit Mercedes-Benz to come to Birmingham. That was one of the first things I worked on. We worked on for Mercedes-Benz, we worked on Honda. I broke the ground for Mercedes-Benz plant. So often when I see people tell me that they're working at Mercedes, and a lot of your friends and members that go to the church, that was one of the things I worked on as a state legislator. You know, I chaired the Legislative Black Caucus. So for many of you who may not know what that is, I was president, if you would want to say, over all of the black legislators, which was 35 in the House of Representatives that we serve. So I've been privileged to learn from some of the best. You know, sometimes when I go down memory lane, I have to think about the distinguished Yvonne Kennedy, State Representative Yvonne Kennedy, who was president of Delta Sigma Theta. I think about Demetrius Newton, who was national president of Phi Beta Sigma. You know, I would hear them talk and speak so eloquently. I just thought that I was just blessed that you put me in a place where I was able to learn and gain skills. And I've tried to bring those skills back. So when I came back to the Birmingham City Council, I was already resolved in this, is that just being on the council alone was not enough. Just passing little small monies was not, but I realized that my experiences came in building relationships. The relationships that I carried from the state executive Democratic Committee, the relationships that I carried from the state legislature, I brought them back to the Birmingham City Council. That's why I was able to send the kids from Jackson Hole, from Carver, from Ramsey to Africa. Children who had never flown before in their lives, because I wanted to expand their mindset the same way you expanded mine when you elected me to the legislature, when you elected me to the city council. So I would use those skill sets to do the same thing all over again. I would expose your children and help them.
Also, House Bill 321, do you remember that?
Is that cemetery? Yes, absolutely.
Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. You know, we worked very hard on that cemetery bill. Matter of fact, I think our commissioner then was a reporter who brought that cemetery bill to fruition, where we really worked hard to make sure that we protected our cemeteries here in the city of Birmingham. I think later, our state representative, one Van, took that cemetery bill and also improved on it. So yes, I do remember that.
Okay, thank you. Now, you've been there before. Why do you want to go back? You've been there before. Why do you want to go back? And what do you think the problems are at this time that warrant you to say, I just need to go back and continue the work?
First of all, the community asked me to run again, and I'm very privileged to be in a position where they asked me to do it. Our current councilwoman now is chair of public safety. And when I say that, you know, public safety is about crime. Now, we've been rising in crime for the last 4 years, and I need not tell you all that crime has gotten any better. If you would listen to her, she said crime has gotten better. But tell that to that 82-year-old lady that got shot on her front porch. Tell it to the young lady at Wilkerson School, the little 6th grader that was almost kidnapped and got away. Crime is at an all-time high. We're in a worse position now than we've ever been in. She is not equipped to help us bring down crime, because she's not in touch with the ministerial community. She's not in touch with the neighborhood community. She's not in touch with the grassroots community. So what I say to you, she's not connected to us. And what you need is someone like myself who will help bring that home for you so that we can pass it along and raise up some real leaders that will be connected to our community.
Accessibility. How accessible will you be to the community? Will they have to come down to City Hall, or will you be coming to them? How accessible will you be to the District 9 community? Not Midtown, not Southtown, not downtown, not East Side, not West Side, District 9.
Well, let me say this, you know, I believe you're supposed to be transparent and open at all times. I'm sitting here now with the grassroots community, with leaders of this community. I participate in the committee to save Jefferson County. I'm involved in coming to the meetings. I will continue to be involved in organizations. You know, I tell people, I say, we may not win everything that we go after, but guess what you do? You never give up. And what you'll have in John Hilliard, you will have accessibility, and you will have someone, whether they win or not, I got a record for sticking around, and I will continue to be involved and continue to be accessible to the grassroots community.
Now, you have a business. Were you born and raised here?
I was born and raised here. As far as we know, our family traced back to 1889 in the Pratt City area. Matter of fact, Pratt City before Birmingham was a city. We were around, so I've been around this area for a long time. I often say, if you go in the back of one Pratt Park, and you see the wooded area, but most people don't know, there's a cemetery in those woods. My great-great-grandparents, I used to go there as a kid and help clean that cemetery off with my grandfather. So we've been here for a long time. I enjoy it. I've had the opportunity to move in a lot of different places, but I love my community and will continue to work in it.
You have your business here. Why do you keep your business in this district when you can go elsewhere? And tell us about the business. It has some type of healthcare senior component to it?
Right. I'm a servant in office and out of office and at work. I deal with a lot of people who have intellectual disabilities, people who are on Social Security, Medicaid, folks who really can't take care of themselves. They're like my family. I have 2 boys. I've had them since they were 8. They're 23 now, and they're nonverbal, and they have autism. So I fell in love with service from a long time ago, and I believe that we should continue to give back to the least of these. And I say it not just to my boys, but to all of the residents that I work with. They're very intellectual and smart in their own way. So that's what I do. I serve, and I tell people I've done the bedpans, I've changed the diapers, but it's a joy to be able to serve and help others. So when I'm not doing what you see me doing now, that's what I do. I do that all the time, and I enjoy doing it, and will continue to do it for as long as God allows me to serve.
Let's talk about downtown Inslee and the McCormick building and all of the promises that were made. What has been the key thing that you think has blocked that project? And what are your plans, if re-elected, to do that?
That's an interesting question because let me say this. I often used to say when I was on the council is that Inslee needed its shining star. I used to say our Councilwoman Abbott, she bragged about Vulcan and all of the work that they were doing at Vulcan. I wanted to see something of that nature in the Inslee area. I believe that we were on the right track at one point. Since I've been on the council, I haven't seen any movement in the last 4 years on Ramsey McCormick project. But there were some businessmen in the downtown Inslee area, which we all know a lot of them, who was really concerned about that development, cost overrun on that project they came to me on, and not having enough community people and business people involved in that project. Unfortunately, it's still been on the table, and that's a sad thing to say. 4 years later, we're still talking about that development. I think they spent a little over 12 to 15 million on it so far, and nothing has happened. So that's going to be one of my first projects when I get back, is to help develop and make sure we get something of that nature done. And communicating, I want to say this, with the business people in the downtown Inslee area. I think that's very important.
What are the communities that you serve and what you're running for? Can you tell us that? I know we talked about Pratt, we talked about Ensign. What is your name off?
We're looking at Wylam, Parson of North Birmingham. Now you have the amphitheater, which, by the way, I chair economic development, and I helped recruit the amphitheater to come to Birmingham. Didn't get invited to the opening, but I did help bring them there where people got jobs from that amphitheater and those type of things. But you're looking at Wylam, you have North Birmingham area, I think I said that, and of course, Pratt City, Inslee, those areas.
Okay, what is your most, before, we're gonna open it up to questions, we got 15 minutes left more. Welcome into tonight's candidate forum. We are talking to John Hilliard, running for election of District 9. Don't forget to go vote, October 7th. Mr. Hilliard, tell us what are some of the most proudest moments in 2 minutes or less? Some of the most proudest moments, because you've been around elected office. There's been a lot that's gone on, and you've got some historical knowledge. You know where the bones are buried to, or the bodies?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So go ahead, tell us what some of your proudest accomplishments have been in office.
I'll be very honest with you. I'm glad you asked me that question. I talked about it before, but I just remember when I was out campaigning in the Wylam area, and I ran into a gentleman, and he says, "Hey, my son needs a job, and he would love to work with you." So he took me to his house, and of course I thought it was a home, didn't realize it was a boarding home. And he introduced me to his son, and as I got to know the kid actually was sleeping on the sofa at the boarding home and didn't have a real bed. And then so I checked on him and found out that he was not showing up to school because he didn't have a washing machine at home and didn't want to wear his clothes dirty to school. So I started using my relationships and network with him and other kids like him. He was one of those kids who eventually got his grades up in school. They went from a boarding home to a group of others to get in the Birmingham Housing Authority. They were able to get an apartment. I used the skill set as a counselor to help move them into that area. But the thing that really got me is when him and several other of those kids from Carver High School, from Ramsey, was getting on that flight to go to Africa. I will honestly tell you there was not a dry eye in the house among the adults, because these kids had never flown before, they'd never gone anywhere before, and now they were getting ready to go and build an orphanage and build a library and do those kind of things. And when they got back, they were changed kids. So that was one of my most proudest moments, to see those type of things. Now there are a lot of other times, we did a Christmas event, and
10 seconds, I'm sorry.
Well, we did a Christmas event, and we were able to get over 100 bicycles donated to kids in the community areas. And to see those bikes coming off that 18-wheeler and see those kids receiving those bicycles, those may be little things.
Time. Go ahead, finish your thought.
But those may be little things, but those are things that make me very proud.
Thank you. Now you have another business. How many people have you gotten out of jail?
Oh, wow. Well,
I know you want to talk about it, we know that you got a business.
I want to plug that. I just want to say to you that I work with a lot. It's interesting enough. Another proud moment. And you say that, and yes, I'm a licensed bail bondsman, so I say that. It's interesting. I got a kid out of jail once, and he was and he may be watching. He doesn't live in the state anymore, but he was in the Mountain View jail. And when I got him out of jail, he looked at me and he said, I'm a smart kid. I've never had a record, and I shouldn't be in here. And I gave him my card, and I said, if you really want to change, I said, call me, I'll make it happen. And he called me, got him the right attorney. Of course, the thing he did was about nothing. It didn't get on his record. And he ended up being my chief of staff. And he served as my chief of staff for many years, and I paid him well. And he went on to get his college education, to get his degree. He called me a couple of months ago and told me that he was working on his master's in AI, and he contributed to my campaign. Let me tell you, things like that make me very proud. Married, 2 kids, and got 1 on the way. So, you know, those are things that makes me feel good about the differences we make. I try to do that. I wasn't in office then, so I was just thinking about running, and he helped me run. So I just believe in uplifting the people around me.
I know that, young man. I never knew that story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
I
I
did
meant
not know that your chief of staff, he's a kind young man. He's
Awesome
listening.
young man.
I did not know that. So
Yes,
my
that's how we
apologies. I
do.
was just really going through how many people you got out of jail, but didn't know it was somebody that some of these folks know and love. Okay, we're going to open this up to the audience.
Good evening, Mr. Hilliard.
Good evening.
So I serve as the chair of Transportation Reform Organization here in Jefferson County, and you were an integral part of bringing the bill on demand. My question is, for District 9, what does that look like to bring better transportation outlets this way, farther for the citizens of District 9 and more of the West Corridor as well?
Well, thank you for asking that question. For those of you who may not know, but VEER, which was like Birmingham on Demand, it was where vans actually, like a Uber, you could pick up the app and just dial it in, and it will come to you for $1.50, pick you up and take you to, it goes to 5 Points West. It did come to the edge of District 9 in that East Thomas area up near Wilkerson, but not all the way quite. We were working on more funding for that and everything. But that's what I say, being a city council person doesn't mean you just sit down on the council. You know, as I traveled and I went to a conference and they said alternative transportation for small and medium-sized cities. And I was like, you know, we need something that will access us better, and that's how I ended up bringing it here. But I will say this much, it's unfortunate that I really had to send it through Councilman O'Quinn. And you say, yeah, because I wanted it to happen. And unfortunately, I knew that if I brought it, it was my idea, it would never come to fruition. So I went to Councilman O'Quinn, and I really appreciate him for this. And I asked him to carry it for me. I would stand behind him. And I said, I'll push it to the end. But in order for it to happen, I need you to do it now. Let me say this much. That shouldn't have to happen, but I wanted it passed so bad. I knew that was the way to get it done, and it happened. And he said to me, he says, man, this just shouldn't have to happen like this. I said, well, you know, I knew other people would sabotage it if they thought that I was bringing it up front, because it would be a plug for me. So it happened, it helped a lot of people, and I want to bring it farther into Birmingham area and District 9.
We have a question from Ms. Sarah.
My name is Sarah Key. Mr. Key, I want to ask you a question. What are really your plans for Huntington Hill? We got a very, very small park. The streets are small. The streets are tore up. When I built my house over here in Apple, nothing like now. Nothing like it used to. Something needs to be done for our neighborhood to build it back up to what it was when I bought my house over here. And when the man came to us from told us that the neighborhood, that he was gonna fix the roads and everything back up the way it was before they, tore it up, and looking the way it looked. You almost turn your car up, coming up and down in there. He did not do, Danny Payne did not do what he told us that he was gonna do. And we need to get our, neighborhood back up to what it used to be.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of pride in our community. And I say to you, I've talked to your neighborhood leaders and talking with Mr. Herschel Hicks, your vice president. We talked about developing a 501c nonprofit so we can go out and seek more funds. I'm going to work with them on that. I'm going to help fund that. And I'm going to help fund all of the neighborhoods in District 9 to help us get our 501cs off the ground so we can go and seek outside funds to also help along with this. It's important that voices like yours continue to speak up. I welcome that question. I will continue to work with your neighborhood association. I'll work with you, and we will make a difference in our community. That park means a lot. I hope that we have that shelter out there. But the shelter is rarely used, even when storms come along. So hopefully we can maybe partner with some of our churches in the area and community to be able to use that facility even when it's no storm coming. That will make an excellent place to host events and do some things and continue to work in the community. But that was a great question. I'm glad you asked it, and I'll be happy to work with you.
Next question.
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing great, sir.
I just want to give you a attaboy. Remember me? You remember back in the day when I was president over here at Warredale?
Yes, sir. I remember you. That's right. You were the neighborhood president.
Okay, I just want to thank you for the favor that what we did when you were working.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On the transfer and all.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes, sir. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Anyway, my name is Willie Hale.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I appreciate you. You know, I met you outside the church. We got to talking, and you asked me to do some stuff. And you know, you don't have to tell everybody, but we made it happen. And that's what a politician should be doing. We should use our relationships to help make a difference with people.
But now I help other younger men and younger boys doing the things that they shouldn't be doing now. I try to meet to them in a lot of those things.
Oh, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Well, God is good. I'm glad we were able to make that happen.
Now I've been doing it 25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
Boy, how time passed. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Good afternoon. My name is Spencer Long, and I've known John all my life. So I felt I've known the entire family. Two things I'd like to address. I personally go every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with one of the elder members of Bethel Church to the Bessemer Sports Complex. He's had multiple surgeries, so we need the pool. That facility is great. I see a lot of the older people go in. I see the kids working there. It is a strong community hub. I don't think that we've had a new recreation center in the area, and I know if kids don't play, kids will stray. I coached basketball in the football league for 16 to 17 years. I don't even remember now, but I'd like to see something like that in District 9. Also, I'm not asking you to be Superman, but I do need your help. Birmingham Sullivan sits idle, and I know that if you, and you've not said a word about Amazon, and you bring Amazon here, but if you can get Amazon and Mercedes-Benz, I know you can do something with Birmingham Sullivan. God bless.
I appreciate that, absolutely. We grew up together. I think we moved in that neighborhood in 1969, and we've grown up together over the years, and man, your family has meant a lot to Birmingham and the Smithville Estates area, and we really appreciate what you and your parents were able to do in our community. But absolutely, I think Birmingham Southern is still a gold mine for our community, and it could be better, a lot can be done. I would like to work with all of our city leaders and outsiders to help develop that project, and hopefully we can get, maybe I'd love to see an HBCU come in that area. That would be exciting to do that, and I know that could possibly happen.
That's right.
Hi, Mr. Haley.
Hello, how are you?
I do not live in your district, I live in District 8. But at one time, I was a neighborhood officer.
Wow.
And I just want to say that I'm glad you brought up about having a 501c your community invests in that. We did the same thing. We had a 501c3, and we were able to make, and you remember Mr. Fenstermaker, we were able to make a partnership with him, and we were the first neighborhood to be a part of the Habitat Home Blitz. So I know that that's a nice way to build housing and other things. I don't want to put you on the fence, but I did want to say, as a neighborhood officer at that time, remember one time we used to get 10,000 and then 5,000, and now the neighborhood's only getting 2. So I'm not going to put you on the fence. I just want to say, would you consider, if you had the opportunity, to think about increasing the neighborhood association's funding, because we both know that $2,000 a year,
Ain't no money.
you can't even get grass cut for $2,000 a year. I know what we were able to accomplish when we were getting 5,000, and especially when we got 10,000. If you look at Fairview Park, it's a totally different park because we had adequate funding. So I would hope that you would just at least say that you would work on that.
Yes, absolutely. I would definitely do it. You all have done a great job in District 8 on that project. I know that April Williams was one of the founding members of getting that done, and she's spoken to me a lot about that. So I would definitely want to see that for District 9. But I will say this, our past council, our current councilwoman, I don't want to say she's passed yet, but hopefully that's the case. I do want to say this, she had $500,000 that she gave away to men in some other state to come solve crime. How far would that money have gone between the neighborhood associations and the pastoral community and our groups here to get something done? Why didn't she have that kind of faith in you or me or some other of us that could have done that? And maybe she would be sitting here now if she had. So my story to that is that if I'm ever fortunate enough to get my hands on $3 million, I promise you, we would deliver for the community.
Yes, gentlemen, I heard somebody say something about a strong mayor, and they were talking about the Mayor Council Act. Nobody in the Mayor Council Act did say anything about the mayor being strong. They changed the Mayor Council Act so that they could get control of the waterworks when the mayor was up there. The mayor sits at the behest, he sits down. The council is the one that makes decisions on the things they do. And we got people who went in that office who didn't know any better. Because when it came to, they changed it where you had to ask for the mayor's permission to change the budget. Okay, well you got 3 choices. You could vote it up, you could vote it down, and you could not vote it at all. And it would revert to the budget you had the year before. And like you just said, that has to be negotiated. That's the prerogative of the city council, and the people who sit there on the city council don't even know that today. So I wanted to ask you, would you be in favor of, number one, working to get that mayor council act changed? Because Mayor Wolford, before he got elected, said that he would, but once he got elected and had that power and had people who didn't know what they were doing to go along saying, well, ain't nothing we can do, that's up to the mayor. That's a lie. If you don't vote for it, then the mayor has to go back to the budget the year before. Would you be willing to work on getting that Mayor Council Act changed from where Oliver Robinson passed it so that they could take control of the waterworks board by giving the mayor at that time the ability to appoint 2 people? That's what it was about. That's what John Rogers said it was about. And the other thing is, would you be in favor of the city council having its own lobbyists again?
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth. The first thing I would do is caucus with my colleagues and say, listen, every organization should have their own lawyer and your own lobbyists. It was a conflict of interest for them to have the same lawyer, the same lobbyists. Now, council meeting is on a Tuesday. Council meeting is on a Tuesday. They come to us on a Thursday with a stack of papers this high and say, here you go, we want you to vote on them on Tuesday. Now, Pastor, If I came and brought you some paperwork and said, hey, Pastor, I want you and your church to vote on this, I give it to you on Thursday, you vote on it on Tuesday, you haven't read through it. You don't even know anything about it. You should have lobbyists, you should have lawyers of your own to read your paperwork. That's what I would bring to the table. I started working on that while I was there. And of course, let me say this. It's really sad. It's very, very sad that we're in a situation where the council is not in charge. And we have to look to one leader. Even the mayor needs a good council. He may not know that, and hopefully he does. But everybody needs a good counsel. You don't need somebody going along with everything you say. What you need is somebody who's going to make you think about what you do. And that's all I asked, and that's all I ever posed to the mayor. All I ever said was, listen, it should not just be one way. Let's compromise, let's talk, and let's be open for that. And unfortunately, we're not in that situation. Some people, I say, just so happy to be there. They just so happy to have a title. Until they don't understand how to negotiate and make a difference, I will make that difference for you. So if I'm there, first of all, I'm going to push for lobbyists, I'm going to push for lawyers, I'm going to push to have that bill repealed. It should not be in the situation that it's in. It's wrong. They took power from the grassroots community and consolidated it into one office, and that should not be the case.
And the last question, is anybody else? Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? There's an anonymous question, I'll ask it for them. With all the experience you have, is it imperative with today's federal climate, with today's state climate being in a red state, and Jefferson County being the bluest dot, and then the black belt, and then I think Montgomery a little bit, but the rest of your state? How important is experience? How important is the right experience to do economic development, to build new parks and recreation, to have a seat at the table, not just at the Birmingham City Council, but having relationships with your U.S. Senate, having relationships with your governor, having relationships with the largest employer in the state, UAB, and then Mercedes, and then Honda. How important is that bigger piece of the pie to have experience to negotiate so that District 9 gets their fair share? This is a district you sit in that used to be bustling and booming from an industrial age. U.S. Steel. We're all the jobs, all the people. And now it almost sits dormant, and people keep giving the community excuse after excuse after excuse. How will your experience change that?
Well, let me give you an example. In the Alabama House of Representatives, there are 105 in the Alabama House of Representatives. Now, I want you to understand, out of that 105, there are only 35 black people. There are not enough of us to outvote them on anything. I want you to say, there's not enough of us to outvote them on anything. It's about compromise, building relationships, and networking. Now, mind you, I served there for 10 years in the legislature. We didn't lose our water system then, because you had leaders like Dr. Arrington, you had other leaders there who knew how to work in compromise, and I learned from them. So I tell you this, what we're going to need, not just a city council person, but you need someone who knows how to walk across all of the lines and make a difference. That's the same thing on our national level, and it's a little deeper there. But I will tell you here, you can't get no redder than Alabama. And if you could build relationships and network and talk to people, they'll compromise with you. They'll work with you. And that's what I would bring to the table. I would bring how to make that work. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and we lost our water system. A $500 million system gone. Because we took our eye off the ball. And we didn't use simple skills to really make it happen. And so I say that I miss the Dr. Arringtons. I miss the leaders we had in our because they knew how to caucus and make a difference. And I'm hoping to work with our current and maybe future legislators and city council people so that we would know how to make a difference. We can't wake up thinking we're going to outvote them. That's not going to happen. But we can build relationships. We can sit down and talk. Prayer goes across the party lines. So we got to use the skill sets we have to make a difference. And as your city council person, that's what I would bring to the table. And that's how we make a difference. Just like I was able to work with Darryl McQueen to get that system going. It didn't matter. I didn't have to be out front on that. I just wanted to see it done. So when COVID hit, I didn't have to be out front. I wanted to shut the city down from the very beginning. But Hunter Williams cared. So I knew how to sometimes put others out front, step back, keep my mouth shut, and get your work done. I'm not telling you I'm going to be quiet because I do talk. But I'll tell you, I know when to talk. I know when to work it out. And those are the kind of things that I would bring to the table. Let me say this. October 7th, if you, each one of y'all, if you don't help me bring 10 to 20 people to the polls, I will not be your city council person. This election is going to be won by very few votes. And I need everybody in this room to make sure we get people to the polls to vote. My candidate, God bless her soul, she has not shown up at any event where she was going to be questioned. She chose Dolomite, but I told leaders of Dolomite when they called me, I said, it's mighty funny. She hasn't shown up to anything throughout this whole election. Not one single one she came to. And when she came, she didn't say a word. Because she didn't want to face the community to be questioned. You will never have that out of John Hilliard. I will always face you. I'll always listen. We may agree and disagree, but we can talk about it and we can make it happen. But I just will not show up and not participate.
Thank you. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, do you have a question? One more question from the audience.
This is a real estate person, I guess, for you, John. Would you be committed to rent control for Birmingham?
Well, it's interesting. To keep the prices low so citizens will be able to afford to have housing, absolutely, I'm for participating and making sure that everyone has the ability to a comfortable living and being able to become homeowners. So I'm a real estate broker, and I know that you are too. So I believe everybody should have a fair and equal access to purchasing homes. When I served on the city council, I brought in, we did it in the Cisco family area at Reverend Woods Church, Timothy Woods Church. We had a real how to purchase real estate with zero cash down. We sent out letters to every church we could find in District 9. And I think we probably had 20 people show up. And I tell people, there's a possibility and a way to learn what we learned that day. Would have cost you anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000, and it was totally free. How could you buy a property with zero money down and own something? And that's what we have to teach, home ownership to our community and how we can get involved in that and how we can own the properties in our area. That's the key to home ownership and building. So your question on that end, I'm definitely for helping the consumer be able to purchase in
10 seconds. Okay. Last question will be with Mr. Hall.
All right, so Mr. Hill.
Oh.
The strength of democracy is in the participation of its citizens. Being actively involved in the community, I oftentimes hear that the city council meetings are only for business people and not accessible to the citizenry of Birmingham. Would you be willing to advocate for an evening meeting, maybe 2 weeks out of the month, to maybe having a 5 o'clock meeting, and then on other 2 weeks doing maybe like the 9 o'clock meeting? That way it will allow for full participation of citizens of Birmingham to be able to come to the Birmingham City Council meeting to voice their concerns and also be able to interact with leadership. Most of our people work from 9 to 5, and they're not able to go to the city council meeting. But we do need to have an opportunity to maybe kind of change our meeting times to accommodate those who cannot make it in the morning.
Absolutely.
And the school board does meet at night.
That's right, that's true. And I would absolutely be in 100% favor of it. I'd like to take it a little further. I would like us to actually come here and have council meeting and to bring the communities here to have a meeting and to get things moving. I think we should move from beyond where we were. We tried that a little and moved it around while I was on the council. I think we should get back to that. And you know, when the citizens demand something, I just want y'all to remember one thing. We work for you. And I think people get away from that. We work for you. The mayor works for you. We all work for you. So whatever you want to make happen, you can demand it to happen. And I got a lot of folks like that I know that are good at demanding things happen. But that's what we should continue to do. And up under that, I say that, yes, sir, we absolutely would.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. And we're going to let you do your parting shot. You've got a minute 30. Tell us why we should send you to District 9 to represent this community.
I love what I do. I enjoy serving you. I enjoy working for this community. I think each and every one of you have something to offer. You're smart, you're intelligent, and you're brilliant. I just happen to be fortunate enough to be the one seeking that office. I will carry your words. I will carry your spirit to the city council. I will fight for the community, and not one time will I ever take for granted your voice. So when I speak, I will speak for you and each one of you. Please, on October 7th, help me fight this election. Help me win. I don't have all the money that my other opponents have. I need help. I need each and every one of you to help fight me. And on October 7th, it just won't be a victory for John Hilliard. It's going to be a victory for you. Because I will represent you. I'll be your voice. This is a democracy, not an aristocracy. This is a democracy, and we deserve to be heard from the grassroots levels all the way up. And that I say to you, that it's just not my responsibility. On October 7th, I'm going to do what I need to do. But I need each and every one of you to help me fight this and become your next city council person on October 7th. Please vote John Hilliard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hilliard. Everybody give it up for Mr. Hilliard running for District 9. Tonight's sponsor of District 9, Henry Runoff, the Committee to Save Jefferson County, 36 cities strong. Also, the Black Contractors Association, Inc., Birmingham City Retirees, Dexter Cunningham, and our host facility tonight, Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, Pratt City, Pastor Dr. Larry McCree Jr., Ph.D. And I do want to have to say hi to Mr. Darius Dacarius, Lariat for Alabama, running for U.S. Senate, state of Alabama. Stand up and be ready. U.S. Senate candidate, thank you for being here. Also, Neighborhood President Julius Suarez Thomas, Neighborhood President South Pratt, and Neighborhood President Mr. McCall Inslee. Give it up for our neighborhood presidents. Give it up for my timekeeper, Marcia Forrest, Vice President of the Committee to Save Jefferson County. And I am Sheila Smoot along with Mr. Jarvis Escott. Give it up for our Facebook and YouTube crowd. Over 1,500 views tonight. And of course, this will be rebroadcast. And also give it up for Mr. Tate. Hi, Mr. Tate up there. Who was your broadcast engineer tonight? Mr. Tate of Bethel, Pratt City. Also at this time, we thank all of you for joining us. And we're going to part with prayer from Deacon Long. You will hear his voice, and then we will wrap up with 5 more seconds. We so appreciate you, Mr. Muhammad, the president of Save Jefferson County, 36 cities strong.
Let us pray. Father, we've come together in unity this evening, one community, one voice, asking that you would shine the light upon the candidate of your choice, Father. Now we ask for the betterment of our city, for those leaders that will lead us into the next year, that you would anoint this person. In Give him the mercy and the grace to abide in your will. We as a church, we as a community, and we as individuals implore you, Lord, to bless us and to keep us eternally is our prayer. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to vote October 7th, 7 to 7, and go and find viewing information. Go to alabamagov.com, secretaryofstate.com, sos.gov, sos.gov. Also, don't forget, if you don't know where your polling place is, you are allowed to call the clerk of the court at the city of Birmingham. We encourage you to call his office because things are moving around. Again, I'm Sheila Smoot, your moderator. Thank you and good night.